Just that people have reasons, and sometimes when you become successful, a counselor will sit down and come up with some reasons and say, oh, that is the reason why. Just like what a doctor desperately wanting to tell you that, okay, you were sick, okay, I'll find things out. But he wants answers from you that will help him to know what happens to you. Now, we are talking about God who knows everything. You don't need to alter anything to him. He knows the answer. He knows where the problem is. He just give it out to you, tell you what it is, and then, you're off you go. I'm sharing this video with you out there. And seriously, let us be very considerate to true facts, nothing else. We owe it to ourselves to understand what it is that can bring a very peaceful life to ourselves. What it is that will not let us get trapped. Death happens, or many things are happening, all because of what we are told or what we've learned. Some point is good, sometimes it's not good. Entirely, it's not very good. But is God really the God that we think he is? Should that have happened? Should somebody like Bin Laden should go out and killing people? Should countries behave the way they behave? Should people leadership come up and say the things they have to say or act the way they act? Should people take those decisions that they take? No. Individuals are acting. If it's not individuals and the spirits are working through us, then the heaven is falling apart, or the so-called spiritual realm is in chaos. It's like it's a confused state. There's too much, rampant of terrible and uncertain movement, and it's reflecting in us. It's like their enemy approaching things. They are striking on us because they have a battle. They fight in each other, and they fighting through us as well. And that can be a very serious blunder. Why should we or human creation be victimized in such a way? Why should we be, led away into that situation? It won't be. It's not necessarily fair. It's not actually fair by looking at it. I don't want to think along that line. I'm thinking along the line this way because the book reflects that way. The book is reflecting in such a way that you're bound to sometimes force yourself to think along that way. But if there's no proof to these books as being the real thing, the real deal, then why do we even consider it or have to end up thinking along that way? Now, am I suggesting something to say that we don't want people to sort of become moral, have morals and have a moral guidance and good advice? You want the world become, chaos, destruction, people dying and all that. I mean, the world became destruction, people dying long before even the book reveals so many dying and destruction ordered by Jehovah and Allah and all that. It's not, I didn't say anything. I'm telling you that the influence even of killing and dying and the violence is here. It's in this book. It's inspired from the inspiration comes from here. It is the common sense of an individual or individuals like me and you who become very peaceful because we're using our common sense and not necessarily getting through the advices here that make the world a bit, comfortable for ourselves and the others. But if that wasn't the case, and me, I take this book and I'm reading through, I have to be a warrior out there fighting. Yeah, if I read the Bible, I have to be out there warrior fighting. If I read the Quran, I have to be out there warrior fighting. Because as far as I can see, I'm ordained, I've been put there, I've been decreed in every way to sort of make sure that my faith survive, my faith live. I don't have to get drowned by people who will knock at my door, or people who will, use threats by gun or, by words, whichever way, to sort of intimidate me. I have to follow through the words and the advice I see there. You check it out yourself. I've given you the verses. Or you read the Bible, definitely. You have it there. The inspiration is there in the Bible to encourage you to do. David was David, great Samson, all these men were men that defended themselves. Because there's nothing that God probably can do to the enemy to stop the enemy from any nonsense that the enemy does, that he has to let you do it yourself. So if that's what it has been at that time, then that's how it should be this time too. I mean, it's the same God yesterday, today. The same God you have, your traditionally has been descended from you. If it's Jehovah, it's the same Jehovah. And so if that's the case, then why should you do something different? Because Christ died for you. Christ died for you. So what? You're supposed to sort of spend your life thinking that his death will save you. You will stay there, and somebody will stab you, and you think he will come and save you, and you will stay there and you die, and nobody save you, unless a doctor pick you up and take you there and patch you up. Yeah, Jesus has been there 2,000 years when people die, Christians dying, horrible death, sometimes crash, sometimes terrorist approach, sometimes vendetta, so many things. Sometimes people die by accident, by illness, and sometimes live the whole of their life in illness. So what is salvation? What sort of salvation are you talking about that I don't know of, so that I will get a clear understanding? I say the book, the advices that we have in, is not what it is. It is driving us into it has driven us into a serious blunder. We have to look into it, drop it, have our life going on. We look at it for research purposes. I look at it for research purposes. I study it as research purposes. It's part of an exhibition. It can be part of an exhibition, a demonstration for people to know historical things that was happening. Know the people at that time, Alexander the Great. Just like any writing or historical book about Alexander the Great, that's how it should be. Because honestly, even the books will confirm that it isn't necessarily something for us, for this generation, or maybe the next one, nor even the one before us. 2,000 years. 1,000 years can be that it's not necessarily our problem. The lifestyle there in the book that you read, if the lifestyle today is there at that time, if people will stand on the road and open their mouth, sometimes they will stare at the computer, or they stare at the robot, and they will be completely freaked out, or somehow stunned by the idea what is happening today might happen if it was to happen at the time of when the Bible was written, or at the time of Moses and all that. They will attribute it to God. They will say, God. People see plane in the sky. If Moses was to stand in the mountain and see plane in the sky, what will you think? You ask yourself. The man Moses was looking at the sky. God is sending us a message. God is coming. Sorry. Yeah, he would think that God is coming, or an angel is coming, or a bird is coming. Yeah. Or the plane was to fall down right there at the feet of Moses. He would think that God has sent angels, and the angels are there, and the angels died. Or he would think that the angelic beings that are traveling away from God, and God has crushed them. He would think so many things. He will marvel at the idea of a plane in the sky, or in so many things. So if we consider that carefully, that should tell us that this book is far from us. It's far from the generation human life has moved on far. We've moved so far. Maybe even a common paper that falls down from the sky, Moses will look at it. What sort of paper is this? That should tell us straight that God or Jehovah or Jesus or Allah, whichever way it is, that period of time is not compared to today's period of time. It's a far difference. And a message of this kind can fit into this moment of time. We learn, we know what happened at that time, and that's it. We have guns which is shoot by a second to reach somebody and kill that person. It wasn't existing at that time. They were probably using spear and sword, and they were cutting people here and there, and they ran to the field together, and they strike each other. They stand on one field. There wasn't any strategy to sort of learn about the other enemy and use other strategy where you can still save life, where today they have to, Obama had to order a plane that is being driven remotely in the country. Somebody is sitting in that country and driving the plane, and the plane is there in Libya bombing, and nobody is in the plane. It's like a toy. You sit here, you are directing a plane, but it's more than a toy. And no single soldier is in that plane. So the plane will just do its work, return back. Nobody is dying, saving human life. In the time of Moses, can they save human life like that? If the 5,000 all go to war, all will end up probably dying. If they are not able